Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. This is Marilyn Gale, and I will be giving you the next 10 of what stress can lead to, what disorders and what diseases is indirectly or directly caused by stress. Depression. Depression can be triggered many times by genetics, brain and chemical abnormalities. The inability to cope with stress can cause mental and physical health problems spiraling downward. Gastrointestinal problems, anxiety and panic attacks. Circulatory problems. The stress can cause muscle tension throughout the body, and the problems include fatigue, depression, muscle aching, and dizziness. Stress can cause headaches. For the most part, stress is in the mind, causing headaches and migraines. The brain does not receive enough oxygen. Accelerated aging. The skin will lose the tightness. Hair will lose the sheen and begin to fall out. Teeth and nails become more prone to damage. Abnormal liver activity. Stress affects the liver performance, where you could have a yellowish tinge in the eyes, swelling of the feet, the hands, darkened urine, bloody stool, swelling of the stomach and buttocks. The next one I made a video about with B. Smith. Stress can bring on Alzheimer's disease. Stress takes a toll on your mind, affecting the brain health, accelerating aging, and causing the brain to be unable to combat disease. Gradual process can begin with the inability to remember a lot that we need to do and where we put things. Now, some of us, don't be alarmed if you lose your keys and, you can't remember what did I do with my keys. And, don't think because you lost your keys, you have Alzheimer's. There's other things to that. And sometimes you just, lose things or forget things because of the aging process. Your memory is not as good as it used to be, and that does not mean you have Alzheimer's. I was reading an article one time, and it was speaking of a lot of really smart people begin to forget things. And the way it explained it, and I'm just telling you what the article said, but the way it explained it was you have, as you get older, there's more and more and more memories and more information to process. And sometimes your brain kind of dismisses some things or casts out some things because you're steadily feeding more information into the brain, and the brain can throw things out. And that's the way I understood it. So if you do not agree with that, tell me what your thoughts are about that. And, especially if you've read an article that says something to the contrary. Stress can bring on a stroke. Stress restricts the blood flows into arteries that have narrowed itself. It increases the heart rate, the blood pressure. More blood is pushed through the narrower path, causing a rupture in the blood vessels or the vessels in the brain. I know that a few people that have a stroke, and I do believe those people just kind of had a stressful, lingering time in their life. And I do believe that stress induced that. And the last one is premature death. Put all these symptoms together without treatment and stress management, it can lead to an early grave. Information from the CDC, that's the Center for Disease Control, show that nearly 110 million people die as a direct effect of stress. Most of these people are under the age of 55 years old. Now, I have been through a lot of stress throughout my life, and I know a lot of people have through jobs and other things. I have had 2 different doctors tell me personally to get rid of the sources of the stress. Take time to have quiet moments, meditate, get rid of the toxic environment, and that includes people and things and circumstances. So I'm telling you that I have had experiences, and mostly through jobs, especially the job that I just left to retire from. That was the main source of my stress. And I just didn't want to be bothered anymore. And through some good decisions that I had made earlier, I was able to retire, which now, if anything or anybody interferes with my peace, no matter who they are, I have to get rid of them. I have to get rid of the circumstances that is leading me to stress, and not because you want to hurt anybody or turn your back on people or what have you. It's to protect you. So you have to get rid of the source of your stress. Like I said, that's why I retired, because it just wasn't worth it anymore. And I had factored in the investments that I had made, so it made it possible. The things I had done, it made it possible to retire. Now the symptoms. Well, I didn't. This goes back to the stroke. This is some information I forgot to say. Symptoms of a stroke can range from a temporary loss of feelings in the limbs to permanent disability and even death. So I wanted to just kind of throw that in to shed a little bit more light on strokes. And if you start feeling that way, if you feel kind of weak on one side, the facial expression, your mouth might, one side of your face might kind of droop a little bit, dizziness, a prolonged. Now, one of the things that I noticed that people have told me that have had strokes was they had a prolonged headache. And it wasn't like a normal headache, and I don't really know how to describe it. And those who were talking to me, didn't really, they just said it was a different kind of headache. So people, if you have experienced those things, go see your doctor immediately or go to the emergency room. And like I said, the last one is premature death. So taking all that into consideration, that will, all those things, all stress leading to Alzheimer's, gastrointestinal problems, stress can lead to diabetes, whether it's whether it's immediate or prolonged. And I think it's more like prolonged stress that would lead to diabetes. That's just something I threw in just from experience. Accelerated aging, abnormal liver activities, and just all of that. So people, let's take care of ourselves. I've changed some things in my diet, and I just ate today some plant-based food. I threw in some turkey steaks, like breaded with plant-based breading. And I did have some starch with it, a baked potato, very small potato. So I'm, eating more and more healthy, less and less starches and carbs. Less and less carbs, and less and less carbs and sugar. Oh, I've really done good with that. And like I said in the part 1, I have changed my diet, and I'm changing more into a vegetarian and plant-based, but at one point, I do want to go completely vegan, but I've been so used to eating me a big T-bone steak or, some ribs and all that good stuff, but really not bad for you, in moderation. So those of us who have had to change our diets because maybe we have diabetes, if you look at it, eating the way that you're supposed to eat, if you have diabetes, that's really what we should do, whether we have diabetes or not. We should eat as if we do. And I think the chances of all of us living a longer, more productive life is because of exercise and our diet. So I've started back my exercise. I got me a stationary bicycle, and so you can get on that. Even if you kind of dance around the house and do some things just to stay active and busy, that's exercise. That's burning calories. So anyway, I am going to leave you there. Excuse me. I'm going to leave you there, and let me just tell you really quickly. I'm going to make a video about it, so stay tuned. I'm going to be having a giveaway. I will probably do that video or podcast one day this week, and it will be until probably the first week of March, because February is a short month, and I want to give people time to kind of do the requirements and not just mention it for 1 weekend. The end of the giveaway is the next week. Be assured that one of the things will be, and they're all easy things to, the requirements. You have to be a subscriber. I'm going to give an email address, and you tell why. I'm going to tell you what it is when I make the video, but you tell me why this particular item, and I already got it. You tell me why this particular item, why you would like to have this, and what's your plans, as far as what's your plans and how you're going to use this item. I'll put it that way. So stay tuned, and I will, make that video very soon this week. And if you have not subscribed, you can get a little jump on this giveaway requirements. If you have not subscribed, do so now. Click the notification bell, and I will see you I'll see you soon. I'll talk to you soon. So everyone have a good evening. Goodbye.